Hey everybody, what's up? It's OCD Mikey, Hi-Fi guy here for another quick show in the morning time. And I am making a quick one this morning for you guys about crossovers and active crossovers, namely. Okay, active crossovers are the best way to cross over speakers when you're integrating a subwoofer. Okay, I'm going to keep it simple for you. We can argue all the little points, but I'm just going to keep it simple and easy to understand because we could argue every little thing if we want to. First of all, if you guys have not given me thumbs up and subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. If you like to learn all this stuff, I give you guys tons of information almost every day, and you get it straight and from somebody that's an industry veteran, 24 years as a career, not a side job. So anyways, and you can go to 11 Stereo, which is my website where you can go buy stuff. Really, that's why I do this, is so that you guys will buy from me, because I'm a dealer. I'm an audio dealer, and I take care of you. I think I do a better job at getting you guys the good stuff than just box pushers that get you whatever they happen to have on hand. So anyways, coming up is the normal speakers. Real quick, normal speakers, they're tuned not to need subwoofers. So you have your floor standing speakers, even monitors. They're tuned typically to go down as low as they can, so that they're a one box solution. That's the idea, is that they don't need any help from anything. Now, typically what we do in Hi-Fi is we try and add something to that. We want to add and make it a little bit more bass, because we're just going for the moon, right? When you add a subwoofer to a typical speaker, you are going to create an anomaly for the most part, especially if it's a floor standing speaker, especially if it's a bigger floor standing speaker. The reason why is that you don't want two drivers in the room at different locations doing the same frequency, because they will cause cancellations, anomalies, phase issues, all sorts of crap, okay? And you'll mess up your whole system. So people think if you're one of these companies out there that starts with an R and ends with an L, and you're trying to sell everybody and their brother a subwoofer because you think it's the best thing that they need to go into their audio system, but you're just having them throw it in there and tag onto the amp outputs, you're still not doing it correctly. You're making it so that anybody can put a sub in the room, and you're adding a sub, but you're still causing the anomalies of having duplication of the same frequencies. So how do you take care of that? How do you truly put a subwoofer in with speakers that are designed to be full range? You need an active crossover. What an active crossover does is it does not let those main speakers do the same frequencies as the sub, and it does not let the sub do the same frequencies as the main. It limits the sub on its rise in frequency, and it limits the main speakers on its depth into the bass. So they cross over well and blend. Okay, that's the only way you're going to get a good blending. Otherwise, it's poppycock. It's not the right way to do it. It's a half measure. It's a half-assed way to do it. So, and there's many benefits to adding a active crossover. You're freeing up the job of the main amp. You're letting the main speakers don't have to dig down into the depths and do the low frequency, so they will sound better because they are freed up to do their job better. It's less lifting, if you will, for the main speakers. And you put the heavy lifting, which is bass. Bass is always heavy lifting. You put that off on some big ass subs, right? So here's how it works, okay? And first thing, let me tell you this, in case people are not clear. This is very hard, if not impossible to do. Depends on the equipment that the crossover type that you have and how it's made. But in 90% of the situations, you cannot do this with an integrated amp, okay? So if you have an integrated amp, you'll need to get a preamp in order to do this job. And the reason is because when you turn your volume up on your integrated amp, if you do what I'm explaining and you put it after you try and put it before the integrated, between your sub and say your integrated, every time you turn up the integrated, you're only going to make your main speakers go up and down. You're not going to make the subwoofer go up and down. So they're going to be out of balance. You're going to have it balanced perfectly. Then when you hit the volume, all of a sudden you're going to get a bunch more main speakers, a bunch more top end and mid, and it's going to leave that sub in the dust. with a preamp, you're putting the active crossover after the preamp. So you can volume control them at their perfect ratio. They can both be controlled. The sub and the main speakers can be controlled at the same time, at the same ratio, up and down. So if you have an integrated amp, you're SOL with what I'm describing right now, unless you get a preamp. And there's a few exceptions, but I'm not going to go into that right now. Okay, so just so you can understand, I've got a quick Mikey diagram here scribbled on the pad. So here is how it works. Okay, so you've got a preamp. You've got left and right, RCAs or XLRs. I prefer XLRs coming out of a preamp going to our crossover. Now, the crossover is basically one in and two outputs. So a full range in, and then it splits it into low and high output, okay, on the outs. Now, what you do is your highs go to your main amp that power your main speakers, okay? And the lows go to the sub amp, the plate amp that's on the sub, okay? So it's really simple. Your preamp leads to the crossover, splits it out into low and high. The lows go to the sub amp. The highs go to your main amp, to your main speakers, and that's it. And then when you turn your preamp volume up and down, it moves this all, and this does your mix between, you have a gain on here, how much sub you want versus how much main. So you do your mix right here of these two, and then you do a master volume up at the preamp to make these both go up in conjunction together, your mains and your subwoofer. So hopefully that should help you understand how it works. The main thing is I get people calling me with integrated amps, and you're SOL, you know, if you haven't integrated. This is not for integrated amps. This is separate territory typically. And again, there's a few caveats and there's a few things, you know, of how you can get around it. If you're only using one source, it makes it easier. If you've got vinyl, you're going to need a preamp anyways. So, but if you're only digital, then you might be able to do it if there's a volume control on your preamp, a volume control on your crossover. That's the only way you're going to do it. Most crossovers don't have main master volumes. Some pro audio stuff probably would. So anyways, I just wanted to take a quick couple minutes this morning to let you know about crossovers and to basically get across a couple main ideas. The first idea is you can't add a sub to a full range speaker and do it properly without using active crossover. Otherwise, it's cockamamie. It's a half measure. 2, if you have an integrated amp, you're not going to be able to do this exercise unless your crossover has a main volume on it, okay? And then it's not going to be remote, most likely. You're going to have to get up and every time, you know. So typically 90% of the time, you can't do it unless you add a preamp to your integrated amp. That will make it work. And those are typically it. The main thing is that people don't understand that to add a subwoofer, you're messing things up. Subwoofer is typically for home theater, and there's a dedicated low frequency channel that goes to it. That's how it works typically. Subwoofers now, people integrated, what we did in HiFi is we integrated a home theater standard, the 0.1, or 0.2 or 0.4 or whatever. We added that into our 2-channel listening, and there's really, it wasn't designed for that. That's not how it was created. So in order to do it properly, you need an active crossover. There is a company called Sublime Audio, which is the one that I recommend. It's a $500 box. It's both balanced and single-ended, meaning it's both RCA and XLR when you do use adapters, because they're 1/4 inch. It's a small box, but they're well, I'll tell you about something that's coming shortly, but we'll have a solution shortly that will be a little bit different from Sublime. But that's an easy way to do it. You can also go to Guitar Center. You can get a DBX, you know, thing that's pro for the pro audio industry. You can also do crossover that way too. It's not as well made as the one the Sublime, which is made in USA in San Francisco, and it's just a higher quality piece. But anyways, that's it. Thanks for joining. Have a great day. I got to get back to making Dave's cables. I will see you guys later.